Cesar opened the folding bed and the curved mattress he had taken from his parents' home to sleep the first days of independence. Taking care the rusty for the lack of use iron didn't make too much noise, he pulled up the bedclothes. And while he was making the last corner, he checked his steps in the last days. At the body shop, it all looked as always. It was true they had more and more work, and that even the costs were increasing. He had already thought about hiring one or two more guys. He also kept on thinking about the engine he had on his office table. He was about to make it work. He had the sketch of the few pieces left clear in his head, and if he was able to save some money, he could buy the machine he needed to make them. He waved, too, the chance I was his employee's boy. They insisted that he went out for a drink with them, but he didn't like much the false familiarity of the following days owed to the alcohol solidarity. No, he really didn't think I was their thing. He had never given anybody the sack, but they didn't play with his patience. Maybe I should do something, Cesar thought, standing against the door. He listened carefully the silence that came from my bedroom. He thought that I had not even eaten anything. He thought about going to see if I had left yet. Then he thought it better and went to sleep. In the morning, as he didn't see me, he thought that if it was a joke, he would try to take it with no anger. Playing sly, not attaching importance. However, he wrote down on his diary the day and the event, on his personal diary, where he wrote the everyday things to take them out of his mind, not to forget them. But the excess of work and the fortune of saving money got his memory busy with projects instead of dreams. And the growth made the garage become a factory, and him an executive that went from hiring mechanics to request experts and engineers, that had a secretary and even needed a public relations consultant. If you want to keep the same level of production, the only thing you can do is grow. The factory is speaking. The head of the economic department began to explain. I know, Modesto had already told me, Cesar answered, referring to the engineer-in-chief. And if you want to grow, the economist resumed, annoyed about the interruption, you have to raise funds. Funds? Cesar asked. We have money, we still have no shared earnings. Where is that money? And he asked it nervous, seeing himself broke, thinking that the expensive suit Emma was wearing didn't come from her salary, but the company's accounts. It's where it was, Emma dropped, half taking offense. But we need that funds to keep our activity on. We can take the risk of getting into more debts. I don't understand anything. I thought the only background we had was the lines. He says he doesn't understand. Emma muttered. Let's see if you understand it this way. If you want to meet the orders you took, you have to stand the factory. If you want to stand the factory, you have to get more money because expand the factory it's a bit bigger than changing a machine or buying a hammer in a hardware store. It's a lot of money and you can't charge all the cost on the current production because the current production is profitable within its own costs. But if you'd add more costs, maybe it isn't, not maybe, sure it isn't. And that thing of the public relations? What has to do with this? Cesar asked. You are not going to find the partners you need in the neighborhood tavern. Emma dropped, still offended. She almost got a smile out of Cesar. It wasn't that the neighborhood tavern was bad, but it was a very graphic way of explaining that wasn't exactly on his nature, being a con artist with way with people. You can go around asking for money, on one side because you can't, and on the other side because if you say you need money, you'll see how short they take to cancel the others. Emma explained. Of course, we work just for the sake of it. Tessa smiled, saying she was right. You have your reputation, and people respect you, and I have my contacts, but we need someone with a wider view. We are too direct, you more than me, Emma said. I know, but if the human resources people choose a snooty boss, I'm telling them to fuck off, Cesar muttered. You are going to work very close to each other, so you'd better be there, Emma ordered.